Where have you been all the day, my own dear darling boy? Where have you been all the day, my own dear comfort and joy? I have been to my stepmother, make my bed, mommy, do. Make my bed, mommy, do.
Oh, this next is a deliciously venomous sort of poem. The sort I relish as it alights on all my shallow prejudices about aristocratic venality and loathsome sense of preeminence. It's about a collector and a cad who, his stab at writing children's books having failed, falls back on selling his title. In the end, the only valuable thing he's been bequeathed by his robber baron ancestors. I admit some of that last sentence I made up, and some of it may be a little unfair. After all, some of our knights did play football extraordinarily well. I'm sincerely indebted to Thornton McCullum for requesting this brilliant Robert Browning poem. I wish I had more time to work on it, but I'm trying hard to stick to my daily schedule. Lines like "the faint half-flush that dies along her throat" should be read with much more sinister stress on "dies along her throat." In fact, the whole line needs much more than it's getting in this rendition. Come to that, so does the whole poem. But it's a creepy joy, and I shall return to it when all this is over, and if I'm spared. Meanwhile, you can fill in the gaps for yourself. My Last Duchess. That's my last Duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Fra Pandolf's hands work busily a day, and there she stands. Would it please you sit and look at her? I said Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. But to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first are you to turn and ask thus. Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half-flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whate'er she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, 'twas all one. My favour at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherry some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked men good, but thanked, somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of 100-years-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such a one, and say just this or that in you disgusts me. Here you miss, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth, and made excuse, in then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew. I gave commands. Then all smiles stopped together. There she stands, as if alive. Would it please you rise? We'll meet the company below, then. I repeat, The Count, your master's known munificence, is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me.
For the murdering